Encouragement. The word encouragement. What a fascinating word. Welcome, evolutionaries. I'm super excited that you're here today because today we're going to go down a rabbit hole, which to me sounded a little bit preachy, but my guide said that I needed to bring this out because after my last video talking about the body being an avatar and a temple and a container, really, I was all ready today to talk about the soul being a container. You're like, Joe, the soul being a container? Yes, but that program was interrupted. My guides actually had something different for me to share with you today. And so today we're going to talk about the word encouragement. Now, I'm sure we've all probably hopefully contemplated the word enlightenment. And of course, there are people out there that talk about enlightenment and how you do kundalini and all this sort of stuff as I talk about here, third eye opening, meaning that you're enlightened. Well, that's not true. Because you are enlightened. You have the light within. In light, meaning the God spark within you, you are already enlightened, which actually ties very nicely into the word encouragement. So having the courage within, because we have that courage, and courage is a directly tied to the heart where the soul resides. And so it's a very fascinating word when you start looking at it and dissecting it, as my guides did with me. So it was like, wow, that's really kind of fascinating how we're connecting all the dots. And hopefully I'm able to do this some justice in presenting this comprehensive information, because encouragement is the courage to know thyself. And of course, this is spoken about in a lot of spiritual texts. You have to know thyself. Know thyself, it's kind of like you have to love your neighbor as yourself. And the challenge is we don't know how to love, which I'll get to in a minute, because we just don't really understand what that concept of love is from a perspective of God and that force of love from that perspective. And so he's actually given me a hint, which I'll talk about in just a minute, on exactly what and how we need to approach this, which I find fascinating with regards to how all this ties together. So the courage to know thyself, and then the power to let the God force into your heart, because the heart, again, is the radiant being of that God spark of where you are. And essentially what you're doing by opening this up, it's like, fanning a campfire. The bonfire illuminates and the darkness fades and we're able to see so many more incredible things. The darkness goes away. We're able to pierce the darkness. And that's really what the power of this word, encouragement. And you can't really have enlightenment in the sense of how these gurus talk about it until you understand the power of courage that lies within. And so that's the topic of conversation today. So as you are the spark of the God source that resides within, you must have the courage to see the world through God's eyes. And I found that fascinating because as I look at trying to find the courage, and it is courage because we have our belief structures in place, and our beliefs really kind of are tricksters, if you will, because you can have, and actually there's a very fascinating experiment done through remote viewing. I don't know if you're familiar with remote viewing or not, but it's a military program where they actually use psychics to kind of spy, well, obviously, and peer into different areas. And they did an experiment where one remote viewer, a woman, and then another remote viewer, obviously also a woman, and they had different belief structures around the church. This happened to be the Catholic Church, where one woman, they knew in her history that she was somewhat abused in the setting of a church. And then there was another woman who just thought the church was just amazing and miraculous. And so they gave them an assignment to spy, if you will, in this certain destination. And what happened was the woman that had this abusive experience within the church construct had and brought back this information that this place that she was viewing was evil and just all this really dark and shady stuff. And the woman who did not have that dark experience, who thought the church was beautiful and lovely, remote viewed the exact same target and came back and saying, oh, this place is so illuminated and brilliantly colored and filled with just this amazing just grace. And so my point is that the beliefs that we have are anchored within us. So beliefs somewhat can conscrew, if you will, how we see the world. And so by talking about courage and letting the God force in, we're able to break down some of these human or mortal beliefs and see and peer beyond the veil as we approach seeing the world through God's eyes, which I think is fascinating that we can actually even begin to approach that. But again, the key word within this is the word courage within the word encouragement. So what was this? Really kind of a cheat, if you will. I don't want to say cheat, but it was kind of a cheat. It's like, so how do you see the world in a different way? Well, we see the world through a different lens by seeing the beauty in all things. I love that, seeing the beauty in all things. So if you look at the construct of seeing the beauty in all things, you begin to just everything fades away that could remotely be dark. And what happens is this light inside of you, this bonfire inside of you ignites. And not only does it illuminate you, but it illuminates and moves the darkness away from everyone in your path, in your world, in your relationship. So it's really activating and entangling, if you will, this amazing sense of seeing the beauty in all things. And then you're like, well, Joe, why not love? Love is what everybody talks about, love. Well, what my guide would tell me is, as we look at God's love, God, in the way he understands the conceptualism of love from a perspective of God, is completely different how we see this as mortals, meaning that it is beyond our comprehension. So we need to have the courage to see the beauty in all things, because as we begin to see more and more beauty, the radiance, we see people walking down the street and they've got an angelic glow because we're able to pierce through their mortal form of being a human and actually seeing this angelic and special being. Now, the exception being is what I talked about in my last video, for the people who don't have souls. Now, those people, you may not see this luminescent light, but that was that video, this is this video, because those that do have souls, by seeing the beauty in all things, and even really, I would imagine, the soulless, you're able to see this resonant beauty, because there is nothing that is outside of God's creation, outside of the creation of Source. So as we begin to see this from a more angelic perspective, we're able to step towards God unfolding who we are in a more tangible way. So do you have the courage to see the beauty in another? And that's a rhetorical question, because that was something my guides posed to me. Do I have the courage to see the beauty in all things, in another person, even when that other person may not fit exactly within the ideals or the construct of what I think, this godly good person should be, or this person who is on a path. I'm like, okay, you're calling me out. But I'm trying. I mean, I'm human too, just like you guys. So I am trying to work through all these things. But it was interesting because once I made that switch, that little tweak of like trying to love everyone and then focusing on just seeing the beauty within everyone, wow, it was such a huge difference. It was like this great illumination happened. And so I would love to invite you to flip this switch, change a perspective, and look at and not say, I love all, because we don't really understand what love is. At least maybe I don't. I'm not trying to project anything on anyone. Certainly we have love for our children, our family, our mother, our father, but from a perspective of Source and what that love construct looks like, for me, I kind of struggle with that. And so as I've kind of contemplated on this over and over again, I guess that's why my guides want to go focus on encouragement, the courage within, to let God within to help you see the beauty in all things. I'm like, see the beauty in all things. I'm like, that is such a cool thing, at least for me. I don't know. I got really excited about this because I'm practicing this now. I'm walking around and actually looking and going, wow, this person who I probably would have been like, I'm like, wow, that person's really amazing. It's an interesting switch. And so I would invite everyone to play with this and look and see, maybe even make a game out of it, how to see the beauty in all things. So step beyond beliefs, as I mentioned, because our goal is to think evolved, to be more evolved and keep evolving as we approach the constructs that are here within this third dimensional reality so that we can continue to grow and expand to bring more of this angelic force here on earth. And if we're able to see the beauty in all things, like I see the beauty in every single one of you, then and beyond, it's an amazing experience once you've made that shift, because it's let me just say this, it's easier to differentiate between love and hate. But beauty, if you see beauty, there is this overriding field that is expanded out from you, this prayer field that encompasses all, that even when someone, let's say, is feeling down, they just go, wow, for some reason, I feel amazing right now. I feel beautiful. Because that's the power of releasing this God force. It's this law, as I've taught you about before, shared about with you before, the law of blossoming. And the law of blossoming really is seeing the deeper beauty in all things and watch it blossom right before your eyes. And to me, that's crazy exciting as as I see myself and other people that I'm interacting with begin to just kind of evolve and blossom. So step beyond to see the beauty in all, and see the beauty of blossoming before your eyes. So claim the power to see the beauty. And when I say claim the power, that's interesting to me, because that's what my guides told me to do. Say, claim the power, because this is our right to claim this power, to be able to see all as God, source, would see all things. And so it's just a different type of a way of looking at our reality. And I love it because it's still based in love, but it's a tweak on love. And then I found this amazing quote from St. Francis, and it said, he saw the beauty in all things. And this is why you see St. Francis with illuminated with animals and birds all coming up to him, is because there was no differentiation of anything. He just saw beauty. And it's really interesting because as I began to apply this, I was out in my Zen garden, my backyard here, and this butterfly flew up to me and landed on my hand. And I was like, oh, this is crazy cool, because it's also, obviously, my logo symbol is the butterfly, because it stands for and represents evolvement, going from really a caterpillar to this beautiful thing. And again, I was like, wow, what a great metaphor. Of course, I knew this was actually my plan, but really it's about seeing the beauty beyond the time when that beauty emerges from another. And what you're doing by seeing the beauty is you're acting as a catalyst for this person or being or whatever it might be to blossom and become more than they think they are. So what happens when you do this? Well, you're making the invisible visible. And I think that's pretty cool. You're acknowledging yourself as a reality engineer. Now, my oldest son is an engineer, so he'd love that. He'd be like, but a little probably too woo-woo for him. But that's what we're doing. We're constructing a reality around seeing the beauty in all things. And then you are the technicians of the sacred, unfolding the sacred skull. As I throw my marker across the room, unfolding the sacred scrolls to see beyond. And then so the encouragement allows you to pierce the darkness, to see beyond, to decode. And what's really cool about this, you're encoding reality in a different way. So I talked a little bit about last time how you can edit reality before reality has been written. So this is really around the same concept, because you're able to decode and then encode the reality in which you live in, you exist in, which means that we're able to bring this beautiful heaven on earth to earth, because we are now blossoming, and because we are blossoming, we're allowing others to blossom. And to me, that's just crazy exciting. And I think that was all I had. Yeah, I think that's all I had. So as we talk about, that's all. So as we talk about reality and the fact that you're a reality engineer, you are engineering and constructing, allowing beauty to come forth based on your ability to encode reality because of this and God force within you, because now you have the encouragement, the courage that rises from within to allow this all to happen, because now we are knowing who we are. You are knowing who you are. You're an angelic, and you are all powerful. And there is nothing that you cannot do. And this is just so exciting, because we have this canvas of reality that we are able to do whatever we want to do. And to me, it is exciting to share these messages with you, even though it's kind of preachy. And I was like, God, to my guys, like, really, do I need to do this? And they're like, yes, you need to do this. And, it kept me up writing, and I was... Anyway, it was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's crazy cool. But I was like ready to talk about, like I said, kind of cool stuff, or like different kind of cool stuff, like evolving beyond the body into different dimensions and that sort of stuff. But I think this is this is a very important message for everyone to know. So with that, I am Joe Heller, and I love you guys so much. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel, and this is just really exciting. And let me know what your thoughts are in the messages below, the comments, around encouragement and having the courage to step forth. And it's not really about, it's about and seeing that beauty in others, to own who you are, to be that God force here on earth, because it all starts with courage, and the courage that starts within. So we all think of encouragement as something that we need to give to others. Well, reality, it is the spring of life, the spring of the living water within you that's going to allow all of us to prosper and create this garden, Eden, interesting, this garden, this heaven on earth. And it's just, to me, it's just crazy exciting. So I love you guys, and thanks so much for tuning in. Again, tuning, love attunement. And I look forward to catching up with you next time. Okay, bye-bye.